never been more back, baby. Football is in full swing, and we have an incredible weekend to react to. And we still got one game left on the slate. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome into the pregame show. Joe Spadoni. You got me for the next hour and all day long right here on 95.7 The Game. We're going to be leading you up to 49ers, Jets, Levi Stadium, last game of week one. Everything's all been taken care of. All eyes tonight will be on Kyle Shanahan, Robert Saleh, Brock Purdy, Aaron Rodgers, and we're going to be breaking it all down again right here on 95.7 The Game. You do not want to go anywhere else for your 49ers Jets coverage. Pre-game, post-game, all of it right here on 95.7 The Game. So again, we got Bonte Shasky right after me starting at 6 o'clock. They're going to be breaking it all down. They're going to be excited. They're going to be fired up. After that, we got Steiny and Goo from 10 to 2 and Willard and Dibbs from 2 to 6, both live from the Hilton of Santa Clara. Shout out our friends at Hilton of Santa Clara. We love you. I've never been there. I think the only one at the station that hasn't been there, but I hear great things. So I'm going to say that. Here you got great food too. That's what's most important. So if you're going to the game, stop by, say hi to the guys, Steiny, Goo, Willard and Dibbs. They're going to be out there getting you fired up for this game. And then after the game, you got our Red and Gold post-game show, and this is going to be the crew all season long. The one and only Mark Grandy. The Grandy man can because he mixes it with love and makes the world taste good. Sterling Bennett, now married, down in SoCal. Shout out Sterling. And the one, the only, Kyle Madsen, ladies and gentlemen, makes his triumphant return to the 95.7 The Game airwaves. So we got Grandy, we got Bennett, we got Madsen, and we got you at 888-957-9570. I want to hear from you guys. What's your main takeaway from this weekend so far? We got one more game on the slate. Niners fans, you want to call in how confident you are in taking on this Jets team? With all the BS that happened this offseason, all the contract drama, all everything, you finally get to play some damn football. And it's against Aaron Rodgers and the bleeping Jets. How are we feeling about it, Niners fans? 888-957-9570. We confident? We a little nervous? It's all right to have some nervous energy. I'm always nervous with my sports teams. I always expect the worst, though. That's just unfortunately how I was raised. That's just, it's ingrained in my DNA with my teams. I'm just always negative first. I'm never excited, never fired up before the game of excitement. I think we're going to just destroy a team. I don't think I've ever felt like that in my life, in my fandom, when it comes to football specifically. 49ers fans, top to bottom, you look at this roster, you should be confident heading into this season. You got one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL last year in Brock Purdy, making his first full offseason without rehabbing any injury, so he has that under his belt now. He's got his weapons. He's got his left tackle. Yeah, there's some holes on the defense, but that being said, you got a DPOY in Nick Bosa. You've got a guy that has the potential to be a DPOY and is the best linebacker in football in Fred Warner. You have Charvarius Ward, who's an all-pro, in your secondary. You have a guy at every single level on this team. But to be a team, it has to be cohesive. And if there's one hole, a team will look to exploit that. So what is that hole on this 49ers roster? Well, for the longest time, it was the secondary. I still think that might be a slight weakness depth-wise. No Thomas. He's been out. Broken arm. Obviously, you got Demo Lenore, who is looking to get a contract after this season, so this is a big year for him to prove himself. And who's going to step up alongside Fred Warner? No Dre Greenlaw. Tore his Achilles in the Super Bowl. We all saw it. It was brutal. It was devastating. Might have been the difference in the game because Travis Kelce just dominated after that. D. Winters? Who's going to step up alongside Fred Warner? And on that defensive line, you paid Javon Hargrave a lot of money at defensive tackle. No Eric Armstead anymore. So I'm looking at Javon Hargrave saying, what's it going to be? You going to show up? You going to make some plays? I didn't see him make a lot of plays last year. I can't recall a lot of plays that Javon Hargrave made last year. And outside of Nick Bosa, I'm looking at Leonard Floyd, who I'm actually pretty confident is going to get some sack numbers. Why? Because he does that at every stop. Whether it's with the Rams, whether it's with the Bears, whether it's with the Bills, Leonard Floyd gets his. and having Nick Bosa on the other side should only help with that. So 888-957-9570. Good morning to all you lovely people just getting off work, getting ready for work, getting ready for school, getting ready for tonight's game. If you're going to the game, give me a call, 888-957-9570. You can also hit me up on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, all powered by First NorCal Credit Union. We're streaming on all of those platforms. Again, search 95.7 The Game, like and subscribe. Hit us a follow. You can follow me at Twitter, at Spadoni_Joe. I would greatly appreciate it. I'm at like 905 or something. Let's get to 1,000. Come on. Get me to 1,000 people. Just make me feel good about myself. No. That's how sad is that? People feel like that though, too. Got to get to 1,000. Got to get there. Please. All right. I'm going to react to some 49er sound here. But before I do that, let's just talk about the weekend of football, shall we? Just, all of us, let's just start here. You wake up yesterday morning, what's the first thing you see? Tyreek Hill getting detained with Dolphins fans just walking past him right in front of Hard Rock Stadium? What? Yeah, Tyreek Hill, All-Pro, future Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champion, one of the best wide receivers in the league and probably the history of the NFL, getting detained and getting slammed to the ground by police officers in Miami. Still don't know in regards to what. Just a crazy scene. And then what ends up happening might be even crazier. He just ends up going off. 7 receptions, $130, touchdown. In the celebration they have. Oh, who was it? Was it Achane? Was it Mostert? Was it what? Who was it that was doing the touchdown celebration of Tyreek Hill?
I think it was Jalen Waddle.
Was it Waddle? Detaining him, putting the cuffs behind the back. I don't mean to laugh. I'm sorry. The absurdity, you kind of have to laugh at the absurdity of it all. Only in the NFL, right? Does a guy get detained in cuffs on the ground with multiple police officers, an hour later is getting a touchdown, dropping a $130 against the in-state rival Jacksonville Jaguars.
Ain't nothing you can do about it.
Ain't nothing you can do about it. And yes, it goes back to the Scotty Scheffler memes too. All time. Just, it was a day for Twitter yesterday. It's whatever the hell you want to call it. But man, just.
And ain't nothing you can do about it.
Ain't nothing you can do about it. That's America right there, baby. Am I right? Land of second chances. That was a good game, though. I enjoyed it. There was a lot of just close games. There was some stinkers, some snoozers. Panthers, Bryce Young. It was tough to watch. I felt like after watching that game that they just have no hope. Just none. Damn. Derek Carr, though, MVP frontrunner. Let's relax. It was impressive. He was impressive. I'm not taking anything away from that. They dominated that game. Just looking around the NFL yesterday, my main takeaways, first of all, CJ Stroud and Anthony Richardson, is that going to be the next big in-division rivalry for quarterbacks? Because I'm trying to find that out there still. Now, Peyton and Brady, right? They weren't in division. They were just conference rivals. But you look at Russell Wilson, Colin Kaepernick for a second. That was fun. That was a rivalry. You look at Burrow and Lamar Jackson, right? It's a rivalry. It's fun. You look at a lot of conference matchups, sure. Again, Mahomes, Burrow, and stuff like that. But there is something about the in-division rivalry that's just extra special. And I think we're going to be seeing that with Richardson and with Stroud. Just some of the throws made in that game. The arm arrogance of Anthony Richardson. Are you kidding me? It was just sick. It's at 70 yards, rolling to his left. That is why he was drafted top 5. Oh, but the accuracy. No. Josh Allen has proven, and maybe he's the exception to the rule, that you can improve your accuracy in the NFL. Give me the guy with all the tools to do it. And Anthony Richardson yesterday, I thought, was impressive as hell. They didn't win the game. They didn't. But I came away with that tremendously. But also, the guy on the other side, CJ Stroud, I mean, he's unbelievable. He was an MVP candidate in his rookie year. He had one of the great rookie seasons that quarterbacks ever had, if not the greatest. And yesterday, again, just efficient. That's the word I keep coming back to. Just decisive, efficient, 24, 32, 234 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 picks. He was sacked a few times. And Joe Mixon, you look at that. God, they're giving him the ball. 30 carries, $159, Joe Mixon. And then just the plethora of weapons that CJ Stroud has. Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Stephon Diggs. Diggs was, you know what? Quiet for the most part, but the red zone, which is the most important part. 6 receptions, 33 yards, but 2 touchdowns. Nico Collins, 6 receptions, $117. Spreading the wealth. Dalton Schultz, 3 receptions. Tank Dell, 3 receptions. Joe Mixon, 3 receptions. CJ Stroud getting everyone involved. And that's a hallmark of a great quarterback. That's what Brady did. That's what Manning did. Rodgers. All the greats. Spreading the wealth. And again, D'Amico Ryans doing a hell of a job defensively. So could we potentially be watching the next great rivalry there between young studs, CJ Stroud and Anthony Richardson? And then you look around in the NFC side, I was impressed with the Arizona Cardinals. I was tremendously impressed with Kyler Murray early on in that game. I thought, wow, this is a statement. And you know what? I got to give credit to Josh Allen. I've been very hard on him on this show. You all know me. I'm not the biggest Josh Allen fan like some others are. I think he makes a lot of mistakes. I think he, is the reason he holds his team back a lot of the time with some of those fumbles, with some of those boneheaded plays. But you know what? Yesterday, down 14 points at home, Kyler Murray and that offense getting anything they wanted, they showed up. Ended up winning the game 34-28. Ended up being a very exciting game. They got the job done. Big win in Buffalo for them. But I came away from that game saying, don't sleep on the Cardinals this year. Don't sleep on them. Are they going to be a playoff team? I'm not so sure. But the NFC, and I said this with Shasky a couple weeks ago when I filled in for Bonte, the NFC is a lot deeper than we're giving it credit for. And the AFC might not be as good as we all think it is. Now, I'm not going to do the week 1 overreactions and all that sort of stuff. The Bengals, that was a bad loss. There's no sugarcoating it. I'm not doing a Joe Lake up here, a sugarcoat job.
I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You can sit here and do a sugarcoat job.
Thanks, Joe. And thanks, Joe Burrow. It was just bad. I mean, Jacoby Brissett and a rookie head coach coming in there kicking your ass. That's kind of an unacceptable loss. Talking about the worst losses of the weekend, you can go a little college football too. Like, it's that Cincinnati Bengals loss and that Notre Dame football loss. Like Notre Dame losing to NIU, and I was just listening to the syndicated programming before us on Fox Sports Radio. Brady Quinn, obviously an alum there, one of the legends of Notre Dame. He said it was top 4 or 5 worst losses in the history of the program. That doesn't feel wrong. I mean, Northern Illinois, what have they done? Who was that quarterback they had that was in the Orange Bowl like a decade plus? Jordan Lynch? Remember him? That's a name you haven't heard in a minute, Sammy. Jordan Lynch. Yeah, they were in the Orange Bowl like 15 years ago.
Now that's a name I've not heard in a long time.
I don't even remember who they played. Was that the Virginia Tech one? I don't even know. But horrible loss there. And again, horrible loss for the Cincinnati Bengals. Horrible loss for the New York Giants. I mean, good grief. Daniel Jones, his days are numbered. And I honestly kind of felt bad. I sent a video in the chat, and maybe I'll grab the sound. There were Giants fans just waiting for him to enter the team bus just after the game, just waiting outside the stadium to boo him and cuss him out and say all the stuff, saying, give me $1 million, I could do better. All just eviscerating the guy. And yeah, these guys get paid for it. This is what they sign up for. It's all that sort of stuff. And I'm not here to just say, oh, yeah, I feel so. I was like, no, but on a human level, that kind of sucks. I get it. You're in the stadium. Be a boo bird. I'd actually have no problem with that in the stadium when the game's going on. Just booing everyone. That's fine. You paid for your ticket, by all means. But there's a next level of scumbaggery to go outside of the stadium and to wait near the team buses and to just boo at someone individually like that. Who, by all accounts, is a good guy, a good person. Just not a good football player. It is what it is. And you know what, Giants fans? Maybe it's not the worst thing that he's sucking, because you know what? You need a quarterback. And the only way to get a quarterback is to suck. And speaking of quarterbacks, as I pivot all around the NFL right now, 888-957-9570. Yes, we're leading you up to the 49ers Jets, but just some main takeaways from the first Sunday of NFL Week 1. I would love to know your thoughts on your main takeaways from yesterday, 888-957-9570. Talking about quarterbacks, the Raiders, oh my God, they fumbled this whole thing up. I mean, we all kind of saw it, the writing on the wall. I did my Walk It Back Wednesday a couple weeks ago. Mine was, I think the Raiders aren't going to be very good this year. Initially, I thought, you know what, they could be decent. They could be a fringe playoff team. Not with Gardner Minshew. Not with Aiden O'Connell. They're just not good enough. And not that the Chargers are world beaters yesterday either. That was kind of the frustrating part of watching that game as the Raiders played the Chargers at SoFi Stadium, basically a Raiders home game. Just listened to the broadcast. And I was actually listening to it here on 95.7 The Game as I was driving up for some of it, because we had it here at 95.7 The Game. We were broadcasting the Bengals and the Patriots, and then after that, the Chargers, Raiders. Alex Mack has got some work to do as a color analyst. I'll leave that there. But just watching the game afterwards, too, just Antonio Pierce, 4th and 1 in Chargers territory. Down a touchdown. 4th quarter. Punting the ball. That might have been one of the most cowardly punts I have ever seen in the history of the National Football League. And for a guy that builds himself up and pounds his chest and wants to be a player's coach and belief in his guys, he had zero belief in that offense. And the offense played like it. Early on, they tried to go for it in their own territory on a 4th and 1, and they didn't get it. Zamir White, a shotgun run, which I hate, on a 4th and 1. He didn't believe in team after that offensively. And that's a trickle-down effect from your head coach down, whether it's offensive or defense. Zero belief, zero faith. And you know what? I didn't really have much faith in that team and that offense coming into the season. You know why? Because their offensive coordinator is Luke Getsy. And what did Luke Getsy do with Justin Fields last year? Diddly poo. Did Brock Bowers do anything yesterday? Is his name even called for the Raiders? I don't remember. Yeah. He had 6 or 7. He had one big play, 26 yards. Yeah. Jacoby Myers. I like Jacoby. 3 receptions, 61 yards. But when you have Devontae Adams, we have Brock Bowers. Come on. Really? Really? So, just some takeaways there from the weekend. Last night's game I thought was incredible. Los Angeles Rams, Detroit Lions, overtime. That's how you want to end an amazing Sunday of football. Both those teams are going to be playoff teams. I feel very confident in saying that. Now, Puka Nakua's knee injury, a little concerning. And I hate coming back to this, but Shasky brought it up in the chat, and I'm going to bring it up now. This artificial turf is just brutal. I mean, I was watching guys keep slipping and falling yesterday for the Lions. Gibbs, Williams, like people are just tripping and falling. But Puka Nacua hurt now. Hopefully it's nothing serious. That's the one team I look at that can actually give the Niners a run for the division, potentially, would be the Rams. That would have been an amazing win for them, but they took the loss. And that was a great win for the Detroit Lions, who, again, are for real. I don't think last year was a fluke. That game last night showed me that, for sure. From the Xfinity mobile text line, 888-957-9570. 510, didn't Jimmy and Romo go to Northern Illinois? It's Eastern Illinois. Yeah, you got your north, you got your east, south, west. Shout out directions. 510, so no, they went to Eastern Illinois. Sean Payton as well was a quarterback there. Those are kind of the three most famous people from that college. 510, good morning, Zucci man. Appreciate you. Paisan, let's go. Feeling it. It's fun. We're on Monday, man. I'm fired up. We're reacting to NFL football. This is how it's going to be all year long. You do not want to go anywhere else on a Monday morning than the pregame show. I'll set the tone, baby. You want to talk all the national stuff? Well, we'll be talking the national stuff. You want to talk Dak Prescott getting paid right before the Cowboys obliterated the Cleveland Browns? And speaking of quarterback play, Deshaun Watson. Ugh. Now, you can say that for a couple reasons, but just the quarterback play, it's not good enough. Looks like a shell of himself. Confidence isn't there. And that is looking like one of the worst trades/contracts in the history of the NFL. I mean, it really is. I mean, it's Trey Lance, that trade. But you know what? They're not even feeling the effects of it because they got Brock Purdy. Deshaun Watson is just not good. And I'm sure Browns fans feel some type of way of watching that performance and also watching Baker Mayfield absolutely obliterate the Washington Commanders, who aren't a good football team. I understand that. But Baker was my comeback player of the year last year for Tampa Bay. He was really good for most of that. Hell, they were a quarter away from advancing to the NFC Championship at Levi Stadium. That's how good of a season the Tampa Bay Bucks had last year. Right? So if you're a Cleveland Browns fan, you are all in on Deshaun Watson, and now you're like, when can we get the hell out of this? When is it going to end? Because now you start to think, within your own division, do we have the worst quarterback? Now, Justin Fields wasn't that impressive yesterday. They got the win nonetheless. 18-10 over Atlanta for Pittsburgh. But you know Burrow's there. You know Lamar Jackson's there. And by the way, the Steelers are in first place. Everyone was freaking out over Mike Tomlin and his bald head yesterday because he wasn't wearing his hat. I didn't know he was bald. Oh, he's been bald. Been bald for a minute, I think. But I digress. We're just breaking down everything here. 888-957-9570. Some of your main takeaways from a national perspective over the week. It can be college if you want to. Again, Notre Dame, horrible loss. Michigan, yikes. Quinn Ewers and Texas just absolutely obliterating them. And the other takeaways, 888-957-9570 is the number. Want to start dissecting a little bit of this Jets-Niners game, which again, we're going to be previewing all day long right here on 95.7 The Game. Steiny and Goo and Willard and Dibbs live from the Hilton of Santa Clara. Stop by, say hi. They're going to be there leading you up to the game, leading you up to kickoff. And then after the game, join us right here on 95.7 The Game, Red and Gold post-game show. Grandy, Sterling Bennett, Kyle Madsen, all of them breaking down the game, taking your phone calls at 888-957-9570. And then after them, 5 a.m. with me the next day. I'll be taking all your calls. Either a tremendous win or a brutal loss starting at week one, because there is no in-between in football. We might try to say, oh, it's only week one. It's a gut punch. Because before you know it, you got one loss in week one, and then if you lose another one, then you're 0-2. And I don't know about you, Niners fans, but I know you got Minnesota on deck after this, and you're not looking ahead. Absolutely not. I know the Giants stink, but I was still impressed with Sam Darnold. I was impressed. Now, what is he going to look like against a real defense, against another opposing offense? I know. But I'm not sleeping on that team next week. How can you? The whole world was sleeping on the New England Patriots. The whole world. And what did they do? Gerard Mayo used that as motivation. Hell yeah, he did. I saw it with how his team was playing. They came in there, okay, you guys don't think we're any good? Yeah, we'll show you. And that they did. That they did. We're going to take a quick break. Come on back. More of your calls, more of your texts. 888-957-9570 is the number. Main takeaways from the weekend and how we feel on 49ers fans. Last game of the week. We nervous? We excited? You just want it to happen already, play some football? How are you feeling about tonight's matchup against the New York Jets? I want to hear from all of you. 888-957-9570 is the number. We're going to talk about all that and more on a Football Reaction Monday here on 95.7 The Game.
Ready to take your business to the next level? In today's fast-paced marketing world, staying ahead isn't just an option, it's essential. That's where scale marketing comes in. We don't just help you compete, we make sure you win. Whether you're looking to grow, expand, or overcome stagnation, Scale Marketing is your performance marketing partner. We specialize in helping mid-sized
Joe Spadoni. You're listening to the Pregame Show with Joe Spadoni. Right here on 95.7 The Game.
Brock Purdy!
That's right. Brock Purdy in action tonight. Monday Night Football, Levi Stadium. Last game for NFL Week 1 as Aaron Rodgers, Robert Saleh, Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson and crew and the New York Jets come to town. Coast-to-coast matchup. Can't wait. And we're going to be breaking it all down before the game, after the game, previews, post-game, all of it. Again, Bonte and Shasky after me, they're fired up. Steiny Goo, Willard and Dibbs, both shows live from the Hilton of Santa Clara. Stop by, say hi, leading you up to the game. And then after the game is over, tune in to 95.7 The Game for the Red and Gold post-game show where you got Mark Grandy, Sterling Bennett, Kyle Madsen breaking it all down. Cannot wait. I'm so excited. We've been breaking it all down this morning here on 95.7 The Game, the pregame show, yours truly, Joe Spadoni. And it's just quarterback play. That is my main takeaway from this past weekend. Not a lot of good quarterback play. I wasn't, again, that Houston and Indianapolis matchup was probably the closest and most fun game of the weekend. Just some of the throws, some of the playmaking ability of both CJ Stroud and Anthony Richardson was just off the charts. And it was just fun to watch. Be like, man, which one of those guys is my quarterback? Specifically CJ Stroud. Must be nice for some of these teams. And then you look at games like the Bears and Titans, where, good God, I know it's second-year quarterback and Will Levis and making his first ever start, Caleb Williams, number 1 overall pick, trying to be and was the first number 1 overall pick as a quarterback to win his first start since David Carr 22 years ago. God, it's been a while. Shout out Stained. It's been a while. And I was not impressed offensively by Caleb Williams. And I've been I'm a big proponent. I'm not jumping off the bandwagon. I'm not doing that. But I did have him in fantasy football. Oh, that was tough. That's, 14 and 29, 93 yards, 0 touchdowns. Not going to cut it, Caleb. Did complete the 2-point conversion, but 7 points isn't going to get it done as I take a big fat L in the 95.7 Game League this week. Yeah, I'll get over it. He'll get over it. We'll be good. 888-957-9570. Speaking of getting over it, has George Kittle gotten over Brandon Ayuk and Trent Williams not being there for most of training camp? Well, here's what he had to say if there was a noticeable difference at practice with those two, now a part of it.
Yes and no. I mean, I think we did a really good job all of training camp of working really hard and getting better with the players that we had on the football field. And it's hard to replace someone like Trent Williams, who's a walking first ballot Hall of Famer, and Brandon Ayuk, who's just a phenomenal wide receiver. I will say a lot of the guys who weren't here last year, when they saw Trent Williams, are like, holy cow, that's Trent Williams. And just his presence on a football field is probably the most noticeable of anyone else I've ever seen on a football field before.
So Trent's back, Ayuk's back. The vibe should be back, right? Right? I'm not saying this has a weird feel to it, this game. The only thing that does actually concern me for the 49ers, and it's not Brandon Ayuk or Trent Williams, it's Christian McCaffrey, who is questionable heading into this game. And I'm almost at the point, or why are we risking it? In the Bay Area, and with this injury, we should all know better than anyone else just how tricky it can be. Did we not see Dre Greenlaw play in the Super Bowl last year with a sore Achilles? What happened? Tear. Did we not see what took place with Kevin Durant? And I know he was cleared medically, all that sort of thing. Cleared. Great. Against the Raptors, what happened? Torn Achilles. It's just this injury more than anything else. ACLs are kind of like, you know what? You can come back from that. I saw Kyler Murray yesterday, basically a year removed from the ACL injury. He looked explosive again with his legs. The ACL you can come back from. Achilles for McCaffrey when that guy's whole game is predicated on explosion and speed and burst? Yeah, I'm very concerned. And I don't want to play him tonight if I'm Kyle Shanahan. I'd rather him wait a week. You know why? Because I'll take my chances. As long as I got, JP Mason back there too, I'm okay. Now, this is going to be a tough matchup. I'm not going to, you would want Christian McCaffrey out there. I get it. And if he's cleared, great. But when I hear the word Achilles and calf next to the injury report, I get nervous. I do. I feel like Joe Shasky. I get a little worried. And I also get a little worried about the opposing quarterback the 49ers are playing tonight, Aaron Rodgers, a guy that just overcame an Achilles injury the first couple plays of last season for the New York Jets. And this season was over. Now, do I think the season's over if they lose McCaffrey? No, but it's going to be very difficult. It's going to be very difficult. And here's 49er secondary player and special teamer Isaac Yiadom. I've heard it pronounced a plethora of ways, but Isaac Yiadom, formerly of the Denver Broncos, the Green Bay Packers, who he practiced with Devontae Adams, Aaron Rodgers. Here's Isaac talking about practicing with one Aaron Rodgers.
Pretty familiar with him. Yeah, I was when I was in Green Bay, I was on a scout team a lot with him and Devontae Adams. He used to be on offense, so got a bunch of reps against him personally, so I'm excited to go against him again.
Yeah, what can you glean, what can you take from all those practice reps you had against him into a real game?
I mean, it's the best quarterback in the league, you know what I mean? So getting the chance to practice against him every single day, practice with the best receiver in the league, Devontae Adams, was a blessing, you know what I mean? You learn how to play so many different routes. The way Aaron throw the ball, the deep ball, he throw it. If you on top, he gonna throw it behind you. If you behind the receiver, he gonna throw it on top of you. So it's just so many different skills to where you can't really explain. It's just like an experience thing, and I'm really happy that I got a chance to experience all that. I try to teach a bunch of guys that I play with certain stuff that I learned playing against him.
Matt Miyoko there as well, asking the question, NBC Sports Bay Area. Aaron Rodgers, best quarterback in the league, huh? I get it. He was his former teammate. It's great. He has a lot of respect for him. But come on. Still? Really? He's one of the greatest, definitely of my lifetime, of this century, absolutely. He's, yes, Hall of Famer. Tremendous. Let's see tonight. I'm very curious to see how Aaron Rodgers looks with that offensive line, with his new weapons, Mike Williams. He's got Garrett Wilson there. Let's see. Breece Hall, he's a stud. This is a fascinating game. This, again, we were talking about it on Friday. Of all the matchups, this one feels the most juicy to me because I do believe this is a Super Bowl potential preview. Like you don't get that a lot. I truly believe that. With the Jets defense, with that quarterback, and with those weapons on offense, they could be a Super Bowl contender. I don't trust Tua. I don't trust the Dolphins. I don't trust Josh Allen. I don't trust the Bills. I've seen Aaron Rodgers get there and win it all. It's been a while. He's gotten close a couple times to get back to the Super Bowl, but he hasn't been there since, 2011, 2010, when they beat the Steelers? Is that Rashard Mendenhall fumbling? Clay Matthews, Charles Woodson being out for like half the game because he broke his collarbone. It's been a minute, as the kids like to say. But there is something to having been there and won it that I still have respect for. Now, we don't really grant that the same for some of the coaches out there, like a Mike McCarthy or a Sean Payton. By the way, the Sean Payton Bo Nix experiment, it's going great. God. Eesh. Bo Nix should have thrown 5 picks yesterday. Safety, so it wasn't his best. It was not his best. And give credit to Seattle's defense and new coach Mike McDonald. I'm interested to see how that defense looks. Again, that was the defensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens last year that kind of just made Brock Purdy just look like Clark Kent and no longer Superman, he didn't know what to do. So I'm very interested for that first Seahawks-Niners matchup and how this defense will now give Kyle Shanahan's team some new looks as well. We're going to take one more break. Come on back. More of your calls, more of your texts. 888-957-9570 is the number. Final game of NFL Week 1 starts tonight. We're going to break it down next. Jets, Niners, 95.7 The Game.
Presenting a Gain Flings love story. Dear love of my life.
the pregame show with Spadoni, my homies, yeah.
Move on, Joe.
It's hard to move on, Priest. It's hard. But you'll get over it. One loss, it's all right. Your team lost this weekend, you'll be fine. Just one. If your fantasy team has already taken the L, you know what? It's early. Just don't go 0-2. Because when you go into 0-2, then you're already in a big hole, and it's hard to climb out of. And I'm already ready to write off some teams in the NFL. Like, the Panthers are done. They stink. They're already a top 5 pick waiting to happen. The New York Giants are a top 5 pick waiting to happen. Who else am I going to see that's just going to stink this year? Raiders might be a top 5 pick. They might be. Their offense just isn't good. They don't have a quarterback. Devontae's probably going to get traded sooner rather than later because you just, at some point, you got to rip off the Band-Aid. And if you're just going to be mediocre, which the Raiders have been the last couple of years, that's just not good enough to get an actual good quarterback. You just saw this past draft. They were, the 13th pick, whatever it was, 14th pick. All the quarterbacks were gone. You didn't get anyone. So you got to ensure you're at least a top 10. And at that point, you're not going to be very good. So I'd toss the Raiders in there. Broncos aren't going to be very good. I don't think Bo Nix is going to be as bad as we saw yesterday, but I thought his ceiling was limited heading into the season. It's because preseason he looked good? Come on, please. Jets-Niners tonight. We're fired up. We're going to be breaking it all down here on 95.7 The Game leading up to the game. Bonta Hill, Joe Shasky, they're going to be up here in about 10 minutes. After that, we got Steiny and Goo and Willard and Dids, both shows live from the Hilton in Santa Clara leading up to 49ers-Jets. And then after the game, join us here again, 95.7 The Game. Mark Grandy, Sterling Bennett, Kyle Madsen for the Red and Gold post-game show. Taking all your calls, all your text, everything. 888-957-9570. And speaking of the calls, let's go to Jonathan, who's out in San Jose, up bright and early. What's going on, Jonathan? You're on the pregame show, Joe Spadoni.
Oh, just getting ready for work here. Well, an early day because I got to give you an, oh, baby, let's go. I'm fired up. Me and 2 other coworkers, we got tickets. We just found out on Saturday that we're all going together. I thought it was just me. We're getting out of work early. Wifey doesn't realize I got to have her cancel her nail appointment. We're going to the game. We're fired up. Whether it's a win or a loss, it's football, baby. It's Niner football. Let's go. I'm too excited, man. I'm ready.
Hell yeah. That's Jonathan out in San Jose. Tip for Jonathan, though. Yeah, maybe don't cancel the wifey's nail appointment. That's not a recipe for success. I'll let you know that right now. Let her do that. Hey, how about you tell her it's on you and you get her like some red and gold or something like that. Do a little, that's what you do. You pay it forward and then everyone's in a good mood. Don't do anything that makes the wifey upset, especially on game day. Because that's, again, no one wants that. All right, you're setting the tone for the season, Jonathan. You got to set it right. And this is like the Niners setting the tone for the season tonight. They set the tone last year against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the play that set the tone last year was Fred Warner absolutely obliterating Najee Harris in the first series. And that set the tone for not only Fred Warner's season, but the season for the 49ers, who obviously came within an overtime period away from winning a Super Bowl. Didn't happen. How will they set the tone against Aaron Rodgers tonight? Get after him. He's an old man. Bring Aaron Rodgers to the ground. The quarterback must go down, and he must go down hard. Within the first couple series of the game, you got to make your presence known. If you're Nick Bosa, if you're Leonard Floyd, and obviously Leonard Floyd was the guy last year that ended up making the hit, if you will, that ended up with Aaron Rodgers tearing his Achilles. Now, Aaron Rodgers has no ill will towards him. He said it was a freak thing. He says, I hope Leonard doesn't feel any way about that. I don't think Leonard Floyd does, but that's football. It happens. Injuries happen. Crazy stuff. Just a coincidence that they opened up on Monday Night Football last year against the Bills, and Leonard Floyd's on that team. Now they're opening up in Santa Clara. Leonard Floyd now on the 49ers. Again, Leonard Floyd, I'm circling him because I think he's primed to have a huge year. Opposite of Nick Bosa, this has been a double-digit sack guy. It's a guy that stayed healthy. That's really the key for me in all this is health. And Leonard Floyd has been a model citizen of health throughout his NFL career. And listen, I don't scoff at something like that, especially with the nature of the position, defensive end. These guys get rolled up on. These guys hurt their knees. They hurt their ankles. They get concussed. All this sort of stuff. Leonard Floyd has started damn near every single game as a pro since he's been in the NFL. That's pretty impressive. And for a guy like Nick Bosa, who's had some injury concerns, but for the most part has been pretty solid outside of obviously losing the season to the ACL, I don't scoff at that. And health is always going to be the name of the game in NFL football. When you've got quarterbacks going down, like Jordan Love, early on, like already, first game in. And by the way, I didn't even touch on that game, the Brazil game. If we're going to be doing these international games, can we just get the grass right? Like that was unacceptable. Slipping and sliding like that, just you saw Jordan Love throughout the whole game, not just one calf. You saw both calves getting the neuro gun, whatever it is, the massage gun on both of them. Like, it was a thing for Hurts, for Love, for the receivers, for both teams. And it was a good game, ultimately. I still don't know how I feel. Again, no Jordan Love, so that's going to be tough for the Packers to overcome early on. They're saying it's an MCL sprain, a couple weeks, they're hoping, but maybe that lingers. I mean, you just paid this guy a boatload of money. You want to make sure you're not putting him back in harm's way. But this is the tricky thing with football. There's not a lot of games. It's not like baseball. It's not like basketball where you can afford to have him gone for a few weeks, a month at a time and expect everything to be okay. No, he's your best player. He's the best player on your team and you're missing him. And who the hell is the backup for the Green Bay Packers? Does anyone know? Does anyone? Seriously. Green Bay Packers depth chart. I'm looking it up right now. I don't even know who Jordan Love's backup is. Was it Marcus Mariota? I'm looking it up right now. Malik Willis? That's right. They traded the 7th round pick. Malik Willis. We'll see. And he's had some moments. Who was he drafted at? It was like Liberty College or something. Okay. Malik Willis, come on down. But within that division, which I was very high on, and now, obviously, all those other teams won yesterday. Bears won, Lions won, Vikings won. And now you're already behind the 8 ball there. I was a little skeptical on the Green Bay, and not because of their talent, just because I need to see more from Jordan Love, and now he's already going to be gone for a few weeks, so that's a tough loss there. Big win for the Eagles, though. Now, listen, I don't think they're as good as they were a couple years ago in that Super Bowl season, but the talent's undeniable as I accidentally almost break my microphone right here. There we go. We're back. Jalen Hurts still makes some boneheaded plays and decisions. He does look unsure of himself at times in the pocket still, but just like he wants to prove himself as a pocket quarterback more than a mobile quarterback at times. But I do think that where he is at best in his game is when he just has a balance there. When he's balancing the read option, when he's balancing using his legs more, when he's decisive and sure of himself. Now, for the most part, he was. And Saquon Barkley, I mean, he's going to be the guy, though, that carries that team offensively. Is that the greatest debut for a new team in NFL history? Like, on the road, neutral site, week 1, playing for your former team rivals, former Giant, now an Eagle, and going out there and just kicking ass and dominating the way he did, that was impressive. I mean, that might have been the most impressive performance of the weekend, was what Saquon Barkley did in his Eagles debut. And on that field, too, which is, again, just brutal. Got to do better than that. You just got to. And I saw Roger Goodell was in attendance. He was sitting there chewing his popcorn, whatever they're eating down in Brazil. I don't know. I was interested when I go to like different countries, stuff like that. I want to go to a sporting event just to see what they eat. I know what we have here in America, and we love our stuff. We love our baseball foods, our minor league ballpark foods, because it's just so American and just so unhealthy and awesome, and I love it. Can't get enough of it. But like the England, what are they eating? What are they eating out in England at a Premier League game? What are they eating down in Brazil? One of their Brazilian soccer games. What are they eating down there? Huh? God, I'm so hungry right now. I'm talking about it. I got 3 minutes to go. The intermittent fasting is not helping me right now. But 888-957-9570 from the Xfinity mobile text line. From the 510, they're thinking of signing Tannehill. Really? Packers want to sign? I don't think so. I didn't see reports on that. They're not expected to. That's what I thought. Yeah. They're not. That's sort of the latest from Pelissero, I think, or NFL Network. They don't want to. And I'd rather just go with Malik Willis at that point anyways. He's been in the system for a little bit now. Let him see what they got. I know what I'm getting from Ryan Tannehill. It's not going to be great quarterback play. Yeah, he was fine for a little bit with the Titans. Derrick Henry. And by the way, I was actually impressed with Josh Jacobs. That was an impressive performance in a loss. And I was skeptical of Josh coming into this because he has a lot of wear and tear. Obviously has something to prove. The Raiders didn't re-sign him. They didn't bring him back after being a Raider for his whole career. But that was a game that was dominated by the running backs, Saquon and Josh. Love was okay. Why would he kept throwing off his back foot? It was driving me nuts watching that game. Jordan Love. He's got a cannon. I get it. It's the arm arrogance maybe. But there were so many times when I was watching that game, I was like, why are you just sitting on your back foot? I didn't get it. But again, my main takeaway from this past weekend, as we got a minute here to go before Bonte Hill and Joe Shasky get you guys fired up, just the quarterback play. It's kind of all over the place. And maybe that's a product of the preseason. And maybe that's just, we need to have our guys play more in the preseason because there was a lot of rust. Whether it was Jared Goff yesterday, missing guys, whether it was Stafford at times, whether it was, Justin Herbert, who missed the entire preseason. He didn't look great. Gardner Minshew. Trevor Lawrence. Tua Tagovailoa. Even both of them, I know the Dolphins ended up winning, and Lawrence had a nice touchdown there. He had some nice throws, but the quarterback play as a whole and Joe Burrow taking an L, just down. And that's, again, you just pivot right back to the model of consistency and why I think Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs are just a tier above everyone still. Let's go to the quarterback. And we're going to see some two good quarterbacks tonight. Brock Purdy, Aaron Rodgers. Again, we're leading you up to the game all day long right here on 95.7 The Game. Joe Shasky, Bonte Hill next. Steiny and Goo, Willard and Dibbs, live from the Hilton of Santa Clara. Stop by, say hi. And then after the game, the Red and Gold postgame show, Mark Grandy, Sterling Bennett, Kyle Madsen, all right here on 95.7 The Game.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM in HD1 San Francisco on Odyssey Sports